Hello, and welcome, my friend. Today, we are going to do something very special. We are going to travel through time, slowly, clearly, and calmly. This story is for listening practice. I will read it slowly. You can listen, relax, and learn English at the same time. So, sit back. Take a deep breath. And get ready for your time travel journey through history. The Secret Library. It was a quiet afternoon. The sound of rain touched the window. You were sitting in a small library, reading a book about history. Suddenly, you found a page that looked strange. It was shining, glowing softly, like golden light. In the middle of the page, there were 4 words. Speak the past, to live it. You whispered those words. And then everything changed. The book started to float. The clock began to spin backward. And in a bright flash, you were no longer in the library. You were standing on a warm beach. Thousands of years in the past. Ancient Egypt. The sun was shining on golden sand. You saw tall stone pyramids in the distance. People were building them, using ropes, stones, and songs. A young Egyptian worker smiled at you. He said slowly, "Welcome, traveler. The pharaoh is building his tomb." You watched as hundreds of workers pulled heavy stones, and artists painted the walls with pictures of gods and animals. The air was full of life. You could smell the desert wind. You could hear the music of flutes. But before you could speak again, the golden light returned, and you began to move through time once more. Ancient Greece. Now, you were standing in a stone city, Athens. White marble buildings shone under the blue sky. People in long robes walked by, speaking softly. An old man was teaching students under a tree. It was Socrates, the famous philosopher. He looked at you and said, "The secret of wisdom is to know yourself." You listened carefully. His words felt simple, but powerful. The students repeated after him, slowly, like a song. For a moment, you felt peaceful, as if the world had stopped. Then, the golden light came again, and the wind of time carried you to a new place. The Middle Ages. You opened your eyes. You were now in a small village, surrounded by forests. A castle stood on a hill. You could hear the sound of horses and bells. People were wearing simple clothes, baking bread, and carrying water. A knight passed by and greeted you. "Good day, traveler," he said. "Are you on your way to the castle?" You smiled and nodded. You followed him across the stone bridge. Inside the castle, people were celebrating. Music, laughter, dancing. You watched the lights flicker from candles and fire. It felt warm and alive. You wanted to stay. But time, he had another plan. The Age of Discovery. Now, you were standing at a harbor. Tall ships were ready to sail. Sailors were loading barrels of food and maps. A captain turned to you and said, We are going to explore new lands. Would you like to join us? You stepped on board. The sails opened. The wind pushed the ship forward. You watched dolphins jump beside the boat. You could taste the sea air, salty and fresh. For days and nights, you sailed under stars. And then, you saw new land. Mountains, rivers, forests. All waiting to be discovered. But before you could explore, the golden light appeared again. The modern city. You opened your eyes. You were in a busy street, full of lights. Cars moved fast. People talked on phones. Tall buildings reached into the sky. You realized you were back in your own time. But now everything looked different. You could feel history all around you. In the buildings, in the people, and in your heart. You smiled. You had seen the past. And you had learned that every time has its own beauty. Reflection. The golden light faded. You were back in the quiet library. The book was still open. But now, the glowing page was gone. You closed the book slowly and whispered, "Thank you for the journey." You smiled, because you knew the past was not far away. It was alive in every story, in every dream, and in every heart that dares to imagine.